tackle me all the time.
How did that happen?
You know that is
hold on a second. How did that? Oh, that's right. That was my playlist from my workout this morning. So I'd like to start this interview with, I think I've offended some Clemson country music fans the last time we interviewed. I want Clemson family to know that I do listen to country music, okay? 1993, I went to a Garth Brooks concert in 1993 at the Charlotte Coliseum that doesn't even exist anymore, all right? My good buddies Corey Smith, a country music artist, Luke Combs.
He's a Georgia Bulldog now. That don't count.
Well, I mean, he's still my guy, and Luke Combs is App State guy, right? And then my girls are trying to get me on some Morgan Wallen, and I'm on the way to the gym this morning, and Morgan Wallen was with Lil Durk on a song. And y'all are looking at me like, who's Lil Durk? All right, well, I need y'all to look that up, okay? So I just want to make sure, right, I want to make sure everybody understands. I like country music. I just don't prefer country music when I'm in the tight end room with the boys, all right? So I just wanted to get on the same page as we went into this fall.
So that's a perception thing, huh? I don't want to look soft.
Yeah, perception is not reality when it comes to country music. So, what we got?
So I take it that you heard from some people after
that. Yeah, I did.
That happened. Who did you hear from out there?
Well, you know, first of all, my mom likes to keep up with all of y'all, all right, and fill me in when I don't want to be filled in. All right, so, but anyway, no, it was all fun.
You have to feel really good about this room this year, considering, you know, obviously you lose Davis Allen, but man, you've got some depth there and some quality.
Yeah, I'm super excited about the room. Obviously, Davis was a great player. Luke, you know, contributed in ways that we needed last year, and but you know, you move on, and this room's great. It's set up to be successful. Bringstall's had a great offseason. I mean, he looks totally different. It's transformed his body, and from everything I'm hearing from this summer, he's had a phenomenal summer. And then Sage has gotten healthy and is having a great summer himself and had an awesome spring. So with both of those pieces, you got some leadership, you got some people that know how college football works and obviously what the standard is here at Clemson. This is year 2 of me being with those two guys too, so there's more, you know, you're more comfortable with each other. And then you got a guy like Sapp who's still coming along, and then you got 2 young guys that just got here, Marcus Dixon and Olsen Pat Henry. So I'm really excited to get on the field and have those guys. And then you got some other pieces in the room. Banks Pope had an unbelievable spring, and you got Griffin Batt and Will Blackson in there. So it's 8 guys I love being around, and I can't wait to get some more time with them. In the summer, you're so hands off with them, and the strength staff has got them. So I'm looking forward to a few weeks here, being able to spend some more time with them and get fully locked and loaded on football season with them.
How healthy is the tight end room?
Good, you know, extremely healthy right now. You know, everybody's full go. There's been no limitations. Sage had a little bit of limitations at the beginning of the summer from his wrist injury in the spring game, but everybody's full go now, and nobody's been held back.
Has anything changed in the strength and conditioning to keep these guys as healthy as you can? I mean, I know it's football and it's a contact sport, and you're going to have injuries, but
yeah, not really. I mean, the strength staff here, you know, Coach Batson and everyone does a great job knowing, you know, when to push and when to pull back with these guys, and then obviously Pat and Alex do an unbelievable job in the recovery side and the preventive side of it and the training side of it. But a lot of it has to do with the guys too. They have to take some accountability in their nutrition, in their rest. And that's something I've really challenged this group with, and that's where I think you're seeing the change in, like, Brenning Stool's body, for instance. When you see him compared to last year at this point, you're going to be like, wow, like you can see the transformation. But he's taken another step in his nutrition. Megan does an unbelievable job with our nutrition staff, and they've really bought into her plan and her ideas, and same thing with Sage. You're going to see him and go, man, he looks different. So the whole room is really bought into not just, hey, I need to go work hard in the weight room, and that's never been a problem. But I got to work hard in the weight room, and I got to fuel my body the right way. I got to rest my body the right way, and then all of that ties into, staying healthy. At the end of the day, football's a contact sport. You're going to get banged up, and there's going to be some injuries that nothing could have prevented. But you can help yourself, and they've done a good job of that.
A couple of things that make this offense so hard to defend. Number one, presentation, what you see with the motions and the shifts and things like that. And then number two, finding the matchup.
Yep.
How does somebody like Jake present a little bit of a nightmare for opposing defenses in that regard?
I think with him and his skill set, you can get in a bunch of different formations. You can get in a bunch of different concepts, whether it's pass or run, and not have to change out your personnel based off what you're trying to do in that concept. So it's having another wide receiver on the field, but he's a tight end, and he can go in the box and still hold up in the run game and do what you got to do in the run game. But if you're not changing out your tight end a lot and being able to set up a tendency with, hey, they only do this with 4 wide receivers in there. Well, now you leave him in the game, and they can't sit there and go, well, they're only going to do this. No, the whole playbook's wide open because of his skill set. And then the flip side of it is like I said, you're not locked into a run-pass situation with a guy like him. The whole thing's available, and you can rock and roll with it. So I think that's the hardest thing when you got a guy like him that's a matchup problem. It's still being able to run your entire system without having to set up some tendencies. And he's a big-time tendency breaker when it comes to what he brings to the table.
6'6", 6'7", 235 or whatever.
Yeah.
Does he compare to anybody? Does he kind of remind you of anybody? It's a big tight end.
Yeah, he's. I was just telling the radio. I mean, he's got a rare skill set and rare athletic ability for this position. There's not a lot of burning stools running around to go recruit. So I'm really excited about him taking the next step. Like I said, he's done an unbelievable job taking the next step in the transformation of his body and committing himself to the nutrition side of it, and he's really taken off, and all that's going to do is just help him on the field continue to be matchup problems.
Kyle, there's been a lot made over the years of how Dabo brings in assistants, homegrown connections, guys he's known for a while. How has Garrett fit in so far with all the Clemson guys?
Yeah, I mean, he's been awesome. He's a down-to-earth guy, and we've all meshed very well together, offensive staff with him, and you wouldn't think that we haven't been together for a long time, so it's been awesome, and that chemistry and that connection only helps with our players, and he's a great teacher, and just coming in and bringing in this system. I knew a lot of it already, but I haven't been in it in the last 7 or 8 years, so there's tweaks and there's things that he does different, and it's been great for me to learn from him. And I'd say that was the biggest thing that I've kind of taken from him is coming in with a new staff, him not knowing anybody, and just coming in and just going to work and teaching. He taught the offensive staff first, and then we turned around and went and taught the players, and we've continued that this summer. That hasn't stopped. We just spent all day yesterday just watching all our spring cut-ups and just talking through them. What questions do you have? Is there something that you see different that I do that maybe we need to tweak? So it's just been, the collaboration has been really good. So it's been great.
The first time that you sat down to talk football with him, did you kind of smile and go, hey, we speak the same language?
Well, it's funny because I was, kind of, before I met with him, I was kind of refreshing myself because, like you said, I hadn't been in it. I was in it for 13 years, and then I haven't been in it 7 or 8 years. So I found a notebook that was the first time I sat down with Matt Mumme, Hal's son, and Gary Goff, who's the head coach at McNeese State. The first time I sat down with them and met Hal and learned the offense, I found my notes And at the top of the page, it said, I think it was like February 6th, 2006. So, you know, the first time I met with Garrett to talk football back to this system was in February of 2023. Excuse me, it was February 2003. And then February 2023 is what I wrote at the top of my page as we started discussing the offense again. So it's kind of cool. It's 20 years later, you know, certain things were still certain things 20 years later. And I also thought it was just cool, you know, February of 2003 to February 2023, that's 20 years, and now I'm at Clemson, and I'm getting ready to jump back into this system. So it's pretty fun, pretty exciting.
Have you seen, have the guys, the players take it to it pretty well? I mean, they've only had spring to really evaluate, but so far, so good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I saw in the spring, you know, just kind of a twinkle in their eye that was a little bit different, and it's always kind of exciting when you have change, and you get to learn something new and grow, and I think they've done a great job with it. I haven't seen them this summer, but just from what I'm hearing this summer, I mean, they're out there having a ball with it, and it's going to be fun to get on the field with them in the fall and build off what we did in the spring. But no, there's a ton of excitement in the building, you know, obviously with the staff, but with the players, I think you got the same excitement and ready to roll.
I guess it shows to some on the outside too that Dabo's not as locked in his ways as he is. He knows what he has to do and can make change when he has to.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, he's obviously he's got a huge job and a huge commitment to this university, and accountable from a lot of people and putting the best product on and off the field, and he does an unbelievable job with that. But when you look back at it, he's no different than, you know, what the coaches are when they're reassessing their room at the end of the year and challenging and changing and doing whatever you need to do to, you know, take the next step. And at this time, he thought it was time to take a different route and take a new path, and that's what he did. And it's our job as coaches to support that decision and go full speed ahead with that decision. And then it's the job of the players to support the, you know, obviously the head coach's decision, but support the assistant coaches in that same decision and making it go. And that's what's happened, and it's going to be fun come September when we get in the Valley and show up at Duke for the first time rolling out this new offense.
Brittany, what did you challenge him with over the summer to really improve?
Just, you know, he had taken the next step with, you know, in January, my biggest challenge with him is taking the next step from a nutrition standpoint. He's got great work ethic. He kills it in the weight room. Never had a negative comment about him in the weight room. But you have to match other things to that work ethic on the field. You have to match other things to that work ethic in the weight room, and nutrition's a big part of that. So I'm just extremely proud of him for accepting the challenge and doing something about it, and that's what he's done. And you know, he looks totally different right now than he looked, you know, 365 days ago when we were having the same conversation. So he got a big year ahead of him, and I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Does this offense just naturally mean he gets flexed out, detached a little more?
You know, not really. It's one of those situations where, you know, you can. You don't have to, but you can. We do want to put our playmakers in space a little bit more, and if he's one of those playmakers, which I think he will be, yeah, you'll probably see him in space a little bit more. But the beauty of this system is you don't have to recreate the wheel every week. You're just mixing and matching personnel to get the best, you know, matchups against the defense's weakness. And if that means we need to take a tight end and flex him out more this week, then we can do that and not change our plays, not change our concepts, not change the quarterback's read. And then the flip side of it, if this week or this play or this drive means he needs to be more in the box, then we'll put him more in the box and play football there. But and that goes for all our tight ends, not just Brennan. You know, all our tight ends have to, you know, tight end's a very difficult position to play, and it's a difficult position to recruit because they have to have a skill set like a receiver, but they have to have the physicality and the mindset of an offensive lineman in the run game and protection. So it's one of those things where you're out there trying to find, you know, they're tough to find sometimes, especially difference makers, and that's what that room brings to the table right now. We got some different guys in there that can do some different things. We can mix and match that with the wide receiver room that we got, and obviously the running back room that we got. Find our best matchups each week and try to exploit them.
You haven't had a chance to work with them yet, but your 2 new guys come in this summer.
Yep.
Any returns you picked up specifically on?
They looked the part. I can say that. They look the part. These are 2 good-looking kids. They do not look like 18-year-old, freshly graduated from high school dudes. But, you know, like I said, I've heard great things about them and the way they're still trying to, you know, they're drowning a little bit right now, trying to figure out how to swim. You drop them into the academic side, you drop them into the weight room side. They all work out and they think they're ready. And this is any freshman coming in. They beg to have a workout plan and they beg to have all this stuff, and you're like, dude, you'll figure it out when you get here, trust me. So they're still figuring out their workouts before they got here is not the same as working out with Batson and the boys. So, but I'm very pleased with what I've heard so far.
What do you have in Josh Sapp? What did you see in year 1 as he kind of learns? One of those guys that thinks he's ready, he's got to come in, he's got to get up to speed, he's a name that Clemson people are familiar with.
Yep.
What's realistic for him this year?
You know, he came in his freshman year and, you know, he was a typical freshman, had to learn how to be a college football player and how to train. And so he went through Power Hour and did a really good job with Power Hour and trimmed up his body some and got stronger. And, you know, for him, my challenge to him is to take the next step. You know, you're not a freshman anymore. In my eyes, you're not a freshman anymore. So take the next step, and the biggest part of that is taking the next step in accountability. And taking the next step in, you know, if you want to play, there's things that has to happen in order to play, and to play at a high level and to play at somewhere like Clemson. So, you know, I've challenged him from a nutrition standpoint. I've challenged him from a weight room standpoint. I've challenged him from an off-the-field standpoint of, you know, do the little things, and all these things add up to big things. And I'm excited to see what he's done this summer. I've heard really good things about his summer so far. Obviously, I won't get to work with him in the summer, but he had a really good spring, and so far I've heard he's had a really good summer. So I'm excited to work with him in the fall. But he's a big piece of this room, and he knows that, and I need him to, like I said, same thing that I was challenging Running Stool with before. You know, take the next steps, and that's where I am with Sapp. Is take the next steps, and let's keep progressing. Let's keep moving forward.
What is the ceiling for Running Stool? I mean, could he be one of the best that's come through here at that position? Is that the ceiling?
Yeah, I mean, we've had some dudes come through here as tight ends, and I think he could be one of the best that come out of here. I mean, he's just, again, his body, his skill set, his athleticism is really not normal for a tight end. So, you know, he is just, his mindset, his mentality, it's just like there's been a switch that's flipped in the last, you know, 6 months or so. And I'm just really excited to get back on the field with him and work with him and the rest of the guys. Sage has done a great job in getting ready, and those 2 guys right there are a big piece of the puzzle and how we're going to carve things up this year offensively.
You talk about the difficulty in recruiting a tight end because of all the physical attributes that come along with it. But I imagine it's also tough because it's not always the sexiest position in the lineup. A lot of teams utilize them really more as blockers.
Right.
Everything we've seen and what we've heard, Garrett Riley's going to use that and really open up the floodgates for your position group. Has that created a spark, renewed excitement with your guys? What's it been like for them to dive in on this playbook?
Yeah, I think regardless of what position you're talking about, this system is just a really fun system to play in as a skill guy, and it's you know, it's exciting. So I think if you ask that same question to the running back room, you probably get the same response. In the receiver room, it's like,
Yeah, fun has been the word.
right, it's fun, it's exciting. You're not bogged down mentally, having to think a lot before the ball snap, which allows you to just go play and play free, which is what these guys want to do. So from a standpoint of the tight end room, you know, they're really excited about the change, and they're really excited and did a great job this spring in the change. But they also know we're still going to run the football, and we still have to bring that physical mindset to the run game and make just as big a difference in the run game as we do in the passing game. And because they both play off each other. And the better we are in the run game, more opportunities you'll get in the pass game, because now they got to commit more defenders to the run, and vice versa. So they know they're not just going to be out there being, you know, pass catching tight ends, and that's all they do. Right? They've got to still be a dominant force in the box and out of the box. But there is some probably a little bit more flexed out, a little bit more in space that comes with this offense for this group. So I can dangle that carrot a little bit more than I usually have.
Are they built for it? Is this group capable? You know, because if you're recruiting tight ends and taking the talent for the old system, how capable is this group of owning this narrative and being able to do that? Yeah,
I mean, this is an athletic group. So most of these guys in the room, you know, either, you know, was a big wide receiver in high school that never came in the box, because that's usually what happens in high school. You don't play with you don't play with a true tight end if you play with one. So for me, a lot of times I'm recruiting wide receivers. I'm just recruiting wide receivers that are not elite college wide receivers, but they could be elite tight ends. So the athleticism for this group is there. I mean, Sage was a quarterback in high school. You know, Brenny was receiver, defensive end. I mean, he kind of played a little bit of all of it. Sapp, you could put anywhere, you know, on the field. And then, you know, Marcus was a wide receiver, a little bit in the box, but a free safety. And then Olsen was just a matchup problem no matter where you put him, but he mostly played outside wide receiver. And if you look at some of the top tight ends in the country year in, year out, if you really dive into to their backgrounds, most of them are just overgrown wide receivers in high school that are going to be tight ends and elite tight ends. But yeah, our athletic ability, our skill sets, like no issues in this offense.
Is it as much like physicality and like football IQ? Because you mentioned a lot of guys that played other positions that maybe did other things. Does it just come down to that IQ and ability to really understand, maybe more so than some other positions, what everybody is doing?
Yeah, it's not necessarily. From me, it's hard to judge football IQ when you're recruiting somebody. You don't get a lot.
You're not giving them a Wonderlic test.
Yeah, no,
and even that.
And I don't need to take the Wonderlic test on top of that. Okay, but it's more when I look at it. Can they be physical? Like if they're playing a wide receiver position in high school, now my question is can they be physical enough to play tight end at this level? And sometimes you find that out because they play another position. So like Jake was, I mean, he was a dog on defense and super physical. And then like Marcus, for instance, Marcus is free safety. He was a hard-hitting free safety, physical. So you got to find some ways to kind of see that, figure that out. Football IQ, you know, you get them here, you're going to teach them your system anyway. So it's about how much football IQ can they have within our system, and then piece together some of the defensive football IQ parts of it. But it's the IQ part is more about how smart can we make them in our system, because at the end of the day, that's what we're running.
So them not afraid to put their hands on someone.
Correct. Yeah, we do. Yeah. You know, that's exactly right. We got to put our hands on people, and we got to be very physical. We got two. Speaking of football IQ and physical, we got 2 signs, and it's above the doors as they walk out of the tight end room. And those 2 signs says, be the most physical on the field, be the most knowledgeable on the field. And that's the challenge to them every single day that they walk out of that meeting room and go to practice. And then I remind them of that in the locker room before we walk out of the locker room for game day. Be the most physical on the field, be the most knowledgeable on the field. We do those two things, you got a chance to be successful in that day.
I wanted to pick your grade on some of this. I was interested in your take. I think 2022 recruiting spending, Georgia was $1 at $3 million. We all were right under the belt, 2.5. When you hear that number, what does that tell you about, I guess, the investment, the program, how that helps y'all? Like, give that number context. What does that mean to you?
Now, tell me what that is again.
Like money spent on recruiting, football specific.
Okay.
Georgia number 1, Clemson number 2. I guess. But what does that tell you about the investment? And I guess how does that help y'all get to where you want to be in the state?
Yeah, you gotta, in this business, it's a business, and we're out. You go across the street and they're trying to sell tickets in that stadium, and they're going to sell tickets in that stadium based off the product that's being put on the field. So then you come over in this building, how can we put the best product on the field? And there's multiple pieces to that. But the biggest piece is you better have better Jimmys and Joes than the team that you're playing. And in order to have better Jimmys and Joes, you got to spend some money in the recruiting side of it. And I think is money going to get you the best recruiting class? No. But at the end of the day, Clemson is a national brand, and we go to all 50 states, if we have to find the best players that are not only the best players, but the best fits for Clemson, because we're different. We're different on and off the field. So when we're recruiting for a Clemson fit, not just a football fit. And we'll go wherever we need to go to find that fit. So you gotta have some money to do that.
Having been in the high school ranks for so long, what was it like? I think you mentioned last year, just your schedule was so different, right? As a on-field assistant coach, what's it been like crisscrossing the country to find guys and kind of work?
The work's the work, and there's time periods in college football where it's super busy, and in high school it's not, and then you flip it, and in high school it's super busy, and in college it's not. So, we get, as assistants, we get about a month off in the summer in college. In high school, they're grinding, they went from spring ball right into summer break grind. So they don't, as a high school coach, you don't get a summer break. You go to work every single day. Now, you're not working all day, but you're going to work every single day, and then that carries you right into your fall camp and right into your season. So it just depends on where you're at. There's no difference. Same thing in the NFL. There's no difference in the work grind. It's just when is it, and when are the seasons of it between the months of a 12-month calendar.
Talking to some of the other offensive coaches about, it's going to come down to just putting the best dude on the field. We talk about the influx of the use of the tight end, and I was asking, does that make the wide receivers nervous? That could mean less touches for them, but everybody's kind of been on the same page. It's going to come down to putting the best dude, and you're going to earn those reps. What's that mentality like? Those conversations like, as you guys talk to your guys and coach them up about creating these opportunities for themselves?
Yeah. Life's all about competition, and we all go compete for a job maybe, and one person gets it, another person don't, or both people get the jobs, and one person's got more jobs than the other, whatever. But at the end of the day, our job as coaches is to highlight strengths and hide weaknesses. And based off the play call, based off the defensive personnel, based off the week's game plan, that's going to change every week. So there's going to be some times where, there may be 4 receivers on the field and the tight ends may be standing on the sideline watching that play, and that's okay, right? Because the flip side of it is there may be a situation where we got 2 tight ends on the field and there's only 2 receivers out there. But at the end of the day, we got to win the play. We got to win the drive. We got to win the game. And that's the mindset that you have to instill in every room. It's about winning the game. It's about winning the drive. It's about winning the play. That's first and foremost. Because we've all been in those locker rooms where the game's over and you've lost. And you're not sitting there thinking about, well, I wasn't in there for 3 of those plays. You're sitting there feeling the effects of losing the football game and then having to deal with everything that comes with that outside of that locker room. So Is it easy? No. Is it perfect? No. But if you can instill that into them and that belief into them that this is the best thing right now. It's not forever, but just for right now. And then you believe in it and you go push it too. And you'll be all right. But you're always going to have some tight ends upset, some receivers upset. It is what it is. That's just part of coaching those two positions.
College kids.
Yeah.
Thank
High
you
school
so
kids
much.
too.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much. You're all done.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank y'all.
Yeah, fun and freedom are the
Yeah.
two words that everybody's
Yeah.
thrown out there.